Before we start the presentation, here are the 3 SMART objectives. Number 1, to increase engagement rate on Instagram by 20% by the end of Q4 2021 amongst millennials. Number 2, for New Balance to be perceived as a more socially responsible brand by 50% of millennials by the end of Q3 2021. And number 3, to increase awareness levels of New Balance by 15% by the end of Q1 2022 amongst millennials. We will be using a pull strategy in the form of a 30-second advertisement, which will first be launched on TV before being uploaded to New Balance's social media sites. We will also be using a push strategy. However, this will come after the pull strategy. This is because the purpose of the pull strategy is to create awareness of the brand. It creates demand and a buzz within the market. The consumers quite literally pulled in as a result of being exposed to the marketing communications. Then, their demand is satisfied via the push strategy. The 30-second advert will utilize the power of emotions to reach our target audience. We have chosen to use this tactic as research shows that feelings and emotions play an important role in advertising, especially when advertising is used to build awareness levels and brand strength. This is important to us as it would help us to achieve SMART objective number 3. Furthermore, feelings which are evoked by advertising shape attitudes to the brand. This will help us to achieve SMART objective number 2. After being launched on TV, the 30-second advert will be launched on New Balance's Instagram, Facebook and YouTube page, as these have the highest level of engagement and are most popular amongst our target audience. Additionally, the use of social media marketing plays a key role in successfully achieving SMART objective number 1. However, there are some disadvantages to using pull strategies. For example, a pull strategy is effective for targeting a niche audience. To find this niche audience requires intensive research. This can be time-consuming and expensive. Therefore, we will have to take the cost of research into consideration when we are planning our budget.
The push strategy is an in-store campaign that directly correlates to the pull strategy of social media. An in-store marketing campaign helps to enforce purchase decisions as 1/3 of shoppers search online before entering a store to make a purchase. Therefore, launching a push strategy after the pull strategy would allow New Balance to have a stronger online and in-store presence. Through the use of a point-of-sale strategy with in-store, it amplifies the brand position and enhances the brand image for the stakeholders, as well as allowing customers to feel confident in their purchase decisions, resulting in an increase of frequency and conversation. Our push strategy amplifies the re-release of the New Balance 850 trainer. Therefore, we have chosen JD to be the store at the forefront of this campaign. We have chosen JD over other competitors such as Sports Direct and Foot Asylum, as Mintel found that JD sports stores appeal to young urban consumers, which relates to our target audience of 14 to 24-year-olds. In addition to this, the consumer group reacts well to the use of in-store visual merchandising and the innovative technology JD uses within its stores. Therefore, JD would utilise an in-store digital poster as part of the push strategy to further engage the consumer. The chosen strategy has advantages of increasing customer confidence in purchase decisions, increasing frequency of conversation, and creates a 24% more foot traffic and a 30% more visual reach if the in-store display is positioned towards the back of the store rather than the front. However, the disadvantage of this strategy is that there needs to be an element of negotiation with the stores regarding the product placement. As well as this, COVID-19 has caused non-essential stores to close 3 times from March 2020 through to present day. Therefore, this would not be implemented until these stores are able to reopen, as main purchases are now made online.
In our consumer creation process, we have undertaken a secondary research to determine what would identify as our most valuable consumer and target audience. This can be seen in our post that Natalie is a 24-year-old student that will fall under young millennials generation. Natalie is a student living away from home and works part-time as a barista in the coffee shop. As a result, she would identify as bachelor in the life cycle stages. This stage of life cycle comprises those who are not yet married but who no longer lives with their parents. Also, the stage of life cycle is often characterized by a lower level of financial stability and being recreation-oriented when entertainment comes from outside their homes. Young millennials such as Natalie are often confident, ambitious, achievement-oriented, easygoing, active, organized, bubbly, flirty, and curious. One of the strongest Natalie's motivators is comfort due to her active and healthy lifestyle. Natalie cares about ethical factors and sustainability, trendiness, reviews, and recommendations when she shops. In terms of brands that Natalie likes, it seems she is interested in not only New Balance but its competitors as well, such as Asics, Adidas, and Nike. Besides sports-only brands, Natalie likes to use uni days for student discounts, listen to Smooth Radio, and read The Guardian to get the latest news. Starbucks, Netflix, Spotify, and Nando's have all been identified as very popular brands amongst young millennials, being in that top 40 brands list. Lastly, nearly 80% of millennials women say that they think about, research, or discuss beauty topics with their female friends and family. As a result, the Morphe brand has been included in the creation of our consumer persona. When it comes to social media platforms, Instagram has been identified as Natalie's the most favorite. The platform is used by nearly 70% of all 18 to 29-year-olds in the UK. Also, Natalie really enjoys watching YouTube videos not only for entertainment but for educational purposes as well. Millennials have been identified as a generation that watches and streams more online TV and videos than any other generation. Over 70% of millennials in the UK have admitted that they have watched YouTube to learn how to do something new or learn more about something they are interested in. This has also been influenced by increased use of social media by millennials and power of visual and video content. 23% of millennials use video sites to research products and services, and 85% of them admit that they have at least once went and bought products after watching them being advertised during videos online. The creation of consumer persona has influenced and helped us to better come up with our strategies and determine which channels we should or should not use for our marketing communication activities.
Moving on to TV advertisement and social media campaign. As mentioned earlier, our marketing campaign will center around a pull strategy, which is then followed by a push strategy. As a consequence, we've decided to introduce a small 30-second advertisement that focuses around the use of emotional appeal to entice the audience. The advert will be initially displayed on TV during the ad break of Britain's Got Talent 2021, and following the initial release, the advert will then be shareable via social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all of which New Balance have amassed a relatively large following on. The use of social media will allow for word-of-mouth advertising as well as creating a buzz that is likely to lead to further demand. The advert will introduce a new strapline, this being Run for You, for Them. The advert acts as a timeline for the 850 shoes and the impact it's had on someone's life, in turn highlighting how certain lifestyle changes made now can prove to be beneficial later on down the line. As highlighted by the advertising storyboard, the advert aims to pay homage to the New Balance 850 trainer, which was originally a sporting trainer, however throughout the years has developed into a lifestyle shoe that can be worn as an everyday shoe. The first scene takes place in the 1960s, where a young woman comes home from a stressful day at work, when she then locks eyes onto a parcel that she recently ordered from New Balance. The woman opens the parcel to find the New Balance 850 shoes, which she then rushes to immediately put on her feet. In the next scene, the woman decides to test them out by going on a run, and throughout the next few years, the woman finds herself going on multiple jogs in the 850s, with the trainer becoming a big part of her healthy lifestyle. Skipping into 2021, the woman is much older and is now a grandmother, and she receives the news of her granddaughter graduating from university. After receiving this news, the woman opens another parcel from New Balance similar to how she did years ago. However, this time she opens the modern lifestyle version of the 850 trainer, which she again immediately rushes to put on her feet, but this time with the intention of attending her granddaughter's graduation. As highlighted by the final scene, the woman is watching her granddaughter graduate, and this highlights the impact of the 850 trainer in her life.
The marketing communication mix for the campaign involves various marketing tools that have been selected based on the goals our campaign seeks to achieve, as well as the best ways to reach our target audience. Our first tool is outdoor advertising. Our third SMART objective is a market penetration goal to increase brand awareness in millennials. An effective way of creating awareness is through the use of outdoor advertising such as billboard and transit advertising. An advantage of using such a medium is that advertisement has a high frequency of exposure. However, we have low control over targeting our audience and ensuring they receive the communication. What we do know is that our target demographic travel to uni, to work, and they leave the house for leisure. The billboard and transit advertisements can be placed in an area where our target audience passes frequently, such as near uni, to overcome this drawback. Another advantage, aside from its reach, 24-hour presence and exposure, is the ability to be creative and cause a visual impact to gain attention. This lends well to the intermediate communication goals 2 and 3 of changing consumer perception and increasing brand awareness in millennials. The main disadvantage of using static and mobile advertising are, as aforementioned, the low demographic selectivity, as well as the difficulty in measuring the reach of the communication. The measurement problems can be resolved by, for an example, undertaking market research in the form of questionnaires nearby the static advertisements and asking commuters whether they can recall the message and the brand from the billboard. Secondly, we'd use social media. The characteristics of our target audience, which is based on the buyer persona shown, have a strong influence on this mix. As we know, our target audience engages daily in multi-screen mobile usage and engage with social media frequently on a daily basis. The evident digital consumption informs a decision to use social media marketing as one of the main marketing tools to reach our target audience. The advantages of using social media as a communication medium are it's cost-effective, easily measurable, and it can help increase brand awareness as well as having positive effects on brand equity. The limited ability to be creative limits the potential impact and the reach the advertisement can have on the viewer. It is also considered more effective in relationship building and branding rather than for the immediate results. However, our target audience is more likely to be influenced by social media platforms. Furthermore, reports on Mintel show that 40% of people have spent more time on social media, with visits to these sites having gone up by 39% in 2020. We will use influencer marketing, whereby an Instagram influencer does a giveaway on their account as well as pay-per-click ads on Instagram, which will fulfill our SMART objectives 1. Our third tool is content marketing. Short video marketing is an emerging form of marketing which involves videos that are typically from 5 seconds to 5 minutes in length. This form of marketing is becoming seemingly more popular and being used by other shoe brands such as Nike and Adidas, and have proved to be highly effective in both creating emotion by communicating a meaningful message, as well as driving consumers' understanding of the brand values due to the emotional impact. The advantages of using this marketing tool is that it's easily and quickly shared to a target audience on social media. Furthermore, the content can be shared easily on these social platforms. The medium can increase traffic if enough attention is captivated and the audience chooses to act upon the communication. The disadvantages of using content marketing is that the effectiveness is highly reliant on the resources available, such as the advertising budget. The more money spent on the creative short film, the more likely it is to capture attention. Additionally, creating short film content tends to be quite time consuming and needs a large production team, which will again cost New Balance a significant amount. Nonetheless, short film marketing, if executed effectively, can have a high return of investment, as exemplified by Reebok's Sport the Unexpected short film and Nike's You Can't Stop Us, which got over 58 million views on YouTube.
Looking at marketing codes, it is incredibly important that brands must ensure that their marketing tools are in compliance with the relevant marketing codes that affect the brand when advertising to their audience. Marketing tools normally fall into 2 categories, these being broadcasting and non-broadcasting. With our campaign focusing on the use of billboard and transit advertising, social media marketing, and finally content marketing, it means there's a combination of broadcasting and non-broadcasting codes that we must follow when marketing and advertising to our audience. With reference to the ASA broadcasting and non-broadcasting codes, there are 3 main codes that have an influence on our campaign and how we market to our audience, these being recognition of marketing, misleading advertising, and finally weight control and slimming, each of which play a pivotal role in how we advertise. Looking at recognition of marketing points 2.1 and points 2.3, these points play a key role in how we communicate our message to the audience as well as the marketing tools we plan to use when advertising. All the marketing tools must be clearly identifiable as marketing and must not be misleading or dishonest. However, with Instagram playing a big part in our campaign, it has a feature that allows us to clearly communicate any marketing and ads to the audience and therefore helps us achieve recognition of marketing seamlessly. Moving on to misleading advertising and points 3.1 and 3.1.4, the trainer market is being heavily oversaturated with multiple competitors and it puts a greater focus on advertising a brand's competitive advantage to the audience. This combined with consumers having high levels of influence in the market has meant transparency is more important than ever and therefore brands like New Balance must ensure their products do not mislead nor create false narratives that it knows it cannot offer to its consumers. Finally, moving on to weight control and slimming and points 13.1, integrating this code is very important as ultimately the campaign is promoting a healthy lifestyle and therefore we must be very careful on how we portray this ordeal. Firstly, we must not falsely communicate benefits of our product by suggesting the product has a direct correlation to weight loss. As well as this, we must not promote people having to look a certain way and indicating what an ideal body type is. Furthermore, our campaign is likely to attract a young demographic. However, we must ensure that we do not use anyone younger than 18 to promote our product.
Prior to launching the 30-second advert, we'll be running a series of pre-testing methods, allowing us to evaluate whether the intended message of the campaign tool is being decoded accurately by the target audience. Pre-testing involves showing the target audience an unfinished or finished version of the advert, allowing for feedback and helpful discussion. However, we must be aware that pre-testing can kill off creative ideas and heavily relies on consumers being able to express what they are thinking, which sometimes can prove to be difficult. One method of pre-testing which we will run on the unfinished advert is concept testing. This will involve showing the target audience animatics and stylomatics of the TV advert, and in return we will receive feedback. We will then follow this up with a series of focus groups. The focus groups will consist of members from our target audience, and there will be a professional moderator present to prompt discussion about the unfinished advert. We will then investigate using methods of pre-testing on the finished version of the advert. One method is to use projective techniques. This is where the target audience is encouraged to express their inner thoughts and feelings about a brand. This will allow New Balance to understand how their target audience perceive their brand, giving us a useful insight on how to achieve SMART objective number 2. Next, we will use physiological measures. This is another form of pre-testing, which will allow us to see whether the emotional impact of the advert is being decoded correctly. The participants' brains will be scanned to track the electrical frequencies, monitoring how the use of emotion is being received by the target audience. This is an effective procedure, but it is very expensive. We have specifically chosen not to use theatre tests as a method of pre-testing, as research shows that the simplistic nature of the method ignores the emotional aspects, which is the main focus of the advert. Once the advert has been launched to the public and has been evaluated in its natural environment, we will run a series of post-testing to monitor whether our marketing communications plan has been executed. We will be using recall tests the day after the TV advert is launched. The tests are then used to measure impressions and perception. This will allow us to know whether there has been a change in perception between pre- and post-testing, helping us to understand whether we have achieved SMART objective number 2. Further focus groups will also be ran, using the initial group of participants from the first focus group. This is to help determine whether there has been a change in perception and awareness levels, helping us to understand whether we have achieved SMART Objective 2 and 3. Finally, sales tests will also be used to monitor the level of sales before and after the launch of the campaign. As well as monitoring the campaign, it is important to evaluate what happened and determine whether the communications objectives has been met. Additionally, it flags up where improvements can be made for future campaigns. An example of a method which we will be using for evaluation is called tracking studies. The continuous collection of data throughout the year gives an in-depth understanding of the buyer's perception towards the campaign tools and the brand itself. Having a clear understanding of the target audience's perception towards New Balance is helping us towards achieving SMART objective number 2. We will also be using KPIs to monitor and evaluate how well the campaign tools are doing in relation to our SMART objectives. For example, here on this table is how we would set out and monitor whether we are achieving our SMART objective number 1. The table shows a forecast of what we want the social media engagement to be going up by each month. It's an indicator to show whether we are on track or not. To work out the level of engagement, we will be using an Instagram engagement calculator, monitoring the monthly change. At the end of each month, we will then evaluate if we are on track and decide whether change is needed to reach our stated SMART objective.
For the New Balance communication activities, we've decided to use TV advertising and social media marketing. We have chosen 3 popular TV channels in the UK and found out which TV shows for each channel have the younger viewers and are in line with our target audience. Firstly, for the ITV channel, we have decided to advertise during the show Britain's Got Talent. Around 50% of the show viewers were identified as millennials, and the show being the 43rd, the most popular show amongst this generation. The second TV show we have chosen is The Great British Bake Off on Channel 4. The show has been watched by more young people than any other series on the TV. It was the biggest series for 16 to 34-year-olds, with 2.5 million tuning in from this audience, equivalent to a 54.3% share of that market. Lastly, Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games on Sky Sports are predicted to happen regardless of the situation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, and they have been watched by over 80% of the whole UK population in the past. Therefore, we believe that advertising during it would increase our chances for the New Balance to get noticed by not only our target audience but other age groups as well. Also, TV advertising provides multi-sensory appeal and can be easily integrated with other marketing approaches. When combined with social media advertising, it will maximize our reach and campaign effectiveness. In terms of social media marketing, we have decided to use 3 platforms that are the most popular amongst our target audience: Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This will include Instagram Influencer and New Balance product giveaway, pay-per-click adverts on all of these platforms that will come in the form of a 30-second video advertisements, the same as on the TV. The total cost of both TV and social media advertising for New Balance is estimated at £1,157,568. That fits well within the organisation's financial capabilities. Thank you very much for your time and listening to this presentation.